Hello, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of Hot Takes here on Milwaukee Beer Review. As always, I'm Josh.
And I'm Ross.
And tonight we are heading south of the border of Wisconsin, down into the great state of Illinois, and a little brewery out of Lake Zuric. This is Phase 3, and we are going to try what we just realized before we started recording, a fairly big beer tonight for this Hot Takes episode. What are we drinking, Ross?
So we are drinking Curvature Batch 14. So this is a 14% Imperial Stout with maple, marshmallow, and raspberry. I'm not gonna lie, I bought these for us because I wanted to do the review on them. I didn't know what they were until just this very second. I bought them because the can looked cool. And that was it.
It does look cool.
It does look cool. And I assumed it was a stout. And I didn't even bother looking at the label to see what it was. So I'm very happy to hear that it's a Imperial Stout. So
14%.
We've done a couple things from Phase 3 on the channel. I think through the Advent calendar, it's really it, actually. I don't know if we've done anything else on Phase 3.
I think every Phase 3 beer I've ever consumed has been from 3 Cellars, I think.
Yeah.
So, I guess let's crack this thing open. Pour this out. I am pouring into a wonderful amorphic snifter.
I got my 3 Sheeps Teku glass.
See how this pours out. Oh, that is motor oil black, folks. That is thick.
Even like when you in the pour, it's
Marshmallow does that.
Good Lord.
It is very carbonated. A lot of carbonation bubbles actually popping up for me here. Very dark, almost like dark coffee colored head that is dissipating fairly quickly here on mine.
Yep.
There's no coffee in this, however. To the nose we go.
Well, the raspberries
chocolate,
there,
right?
Oh,
maple syrup.
Maple. Yep. So I'm getting like that nice, like faint raspberry, which it smells really good.
Yeah, like that chocolate covered raspberry type note.
Maple's there, but it's a little bit subdued. Marshmallows don't smell like anything, so.
It smells sweet. I'm guessing that is the maple syrup, not the marshmallows or anything like that. I'm guessing we're going to taste, and the texture will be amplified from the marshmallows.
So what that raspberry smells like, what I'm getting from the raspberry smells really good. Like I really like that raspberry scent.
Now, what's the founder's beer? Is it Rubaeus?
Rubaeus, yeah. That's a sour, like fruit beer. It's not stout.
There's a darker beer that they put out that I think has that raspberry note to it. Doesn't matter. Anyways. Let's try this thing out. Phase 3. Cheers. Chew on that.
As a meal. The thick beer. Like first and foremost. It's a thick beer, but it's not like a decadent thick beer.
It's not pastry stout level, but that marshmallow definitely thickens it up. So it's got some chew to it.
Yeah. The raspberry's there. The raspberry's faint, but it adds a kind of nice sweetness throughout. It's not as prominent as it was on the palate. The maple's there. That I think like the maple's definitely there, and that lingers, and even like as I like breathe on my nose, I'm getting maple syrup and everything on the nose and everything. But this is a thick beer.
Yeah. It really, the maple syrup is like the star of this. it starts off with that kind of sweet punch of maple syrup out the front, and then you kind of get a little bit more like candy, like marshmallowy sweetness that follows up the front end like really quickly. And then like mid palate to me is where the raspberry kind of kicks in. It kind of hits you about mid palate, and what lingers is actually I think the raspberry and a little bit of tartness from that actually is kind of the prominent character out the back, but then the maple syrup also lingers right underneath that. It's a very unique desserty type beer.
It's complex. The one thing that's weird for me, and I don't know the best word to use for this, but there's like a harshness to this beer. There's
Yeah.
something like there's some strong like taste I'm getting. It's not an off taste in any way, but it's like um the best thing I can kind of compare it to is like think of like a Russian Imperial Stout, like a darkness without that like like smokiness. So it leads everything up to that smokiness. So there's no smokiness on this. There's that harsh like Imperial Stout kind of flavor to this. Like gives it a bit of a bite. Being 14%, I'm okay with that because I like kind of like knowing like I'm drinking a big beer. If it's too sweet throughout, I kind of lose interest in it. A little harshness in here provides a little bit of depth to it.
For me, I'm wondering how much of that is the carbonation, because it definitely came out of the can very carbonated for me. I'm not getting a lot of it in the taste, but in the mouthfeel, I'm getting a lot more carbonation, which is adding a bit of like a bubbly bite to this that you wouldn't normally get out of a stout this size.
Yeah, that's fair. Um, for being as thick as it is, to your point, it's not a smooth beer for the most part.
Yeah.
I think that's playing into what you're saying. I think it's playing into what I'm kind of saying. Um, it's good. It's tasty. It's very complex, more than I was expecting. Like you really actually do get all three flavors out of it. Um, and this is not one though. I think like sometimes we sit there and say, "Oh, this would definitely sneak up on you being X%." This doesn't sneak up at you being 14%. And again, being 14% without being like barrel aged or anything, that's that's pretty shocking. That's a lot of sugar that they
The
stuck in this.
hefty, expensive grain bill to produce a
Yeah.
beer like this. Yes. Okay.
Oh, that's
So
interesting.
Untappd, Curvature from Phase Three Brewing, batch 14. Where are you going?
I'm going to go 3.5. I like it. It's good. I don't think I would ever like. I don't think I would pay for this again, but I would definitely drink it again if that makes sense. I enjoy it. It's good. I like the raspberry kind of flavoring to it. It's not it's not really in my wheelhouse though. I guess.
Yeah, it's a bit of a chaotic 14% beer. There's a lot of things happening here, a lot of good things that I don't know are necessarily like blending well together into an experience. It feels a little bit chaotic. Um, but nothing bad though. There's nothing bad within it. It's just all very unique, like almost siloed components to the beer that don't necessarily play off of each other super well. I think I'm gonna go 3.75 on it though still. I still think it's a good beer. In fact, I'm enjoying some of those components of it, but it's not fully put together, I guess. It feels a little bit disjointed, but all the parts are good separately, which is a weird
I
way to describe it, but
I I think you described it perfectly. Like you put it better than I think chaotic's a perfect word. It's like it's separate beers trying to be its own beer. Um, and yeah, I I was flirting with the 3.75, but I think that to your point, the chaos for me bumped it down to a 3.5 because it doesn't flow well as you kind of go through the whole palette.
yep, I feel you. Okay. Well, hey, kind of fun to get Phase Three on the channel. Ross, thanks for picking these up because
Yeah,
I did not know this beer existed.
same here.
And a fun one to do here real
Yeah.
quick on the channel. So, a big beer for our second beer on a Thursday night. If you're looking at what we're wearing, you can figure out which episodes we recorded.
It's a Tuesday.
It is a Tuesday. Did I say Thursday? It's another T name. There's only 2 days of the week that start with T, and I got it wrong. It was a 50-50 shot. All right, good stuff here from Phase 3. Are you liking what we're putting out here? Are you enjoying these videos? Let us know in the comments. And check us out on the rest of our social media channels. We are on Instagram. We are on Untappd. We are on Facebook. We are on TikTok. We are also here on YouTube. So like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see all of you in hopefully a full-themed main episode very, very soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.